Day 2 of lockdown here in Paris, and thank you everybody who sent in your English language questions. I've got a lot of grammar, vocabulary questions here which I'm going to answer in a moment, but first, coffee. You know, this is one of the most difficult things because the ritual I do every morning is go out to the cafe, and that's where I get my morning coffee, but not at the moment, so I make it here. There you are. Just a soupçon of milk, as they say, and let's do this thing. So I'll try and answer as many questions as I can from the list. Sorry if I can't get to them all, but I had a lot, and thank you for that. I'll start by answering the low-hanging fruit. That means the easier ones first. Let's see how we do. Ambrosi Fiske, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. He or she, again, I don't know. What is the difference between south and southern, north and northern? Well, south and north are nouns, southern and northern are adjectives. However, be careful because southern, as you can hear, is pronounced irregularly. So south, but southern. So I'm from the south of England, and I have a southern accent. Okay, you're from the north, you have a northern accent. German Morganti says, hi Gideon, can you tell me whether the use of prepositions at the end of questions is correct or not? Thank you, from Argentina. Yes, absolutely it is. Absolutely. In fact, it is to be encouraged. So you would say, what are you talking about, and not about what are you talking? Sounds strange, doesn't it? It is grammatically correct, but the preposition at the beginning of the sentence, but in English it's strange. We like to put it at the end. Who are you talking to, rather than to whom are you talking? Okay, again, it's correct, but we prefer the preposition at the end of the sentence. Bel Arke asks, when exactly do we use reckon? Okay, good question, because I get that question quite a lot from my students. Now, you know how to use think and believe. I think he's a very nice guy. I believe we're descended from monkeys, okay? Now, reckon, have you ever done this? Okay, after you do that, it means you're considering, you're making some kind of calculation in your mind. After you do that, that's when you use reckon. So, for example, I've got a book here. I reckon it'll take me about 2 days to finish this book. Okay. How long do you reckon it'll take to cook this potato in the oven? I reckon it'll take about an hour. Okay, to make the potato, sweet potato. Okay, you got it. So reckon means that you've made a calculation, so it's a bit more precise than think and believe. It means you've considered it and you're making an estimate based on your calculation. Alberto Fernandez asks, is there a big difference between the pronunciation of where and were? Where and were, there you are, where and were. Okay, so where, like hair or there, and were, like her or fur. Okay, where were you? So it's very different. So Beaumont Jean, or Jean, I guess if it's French it must be Jean. Beaumont Jean asks, which pronoun to use with somebody? Somebody is in lockdown. Is it he or they? Good question. That's a very good question, because it's a little bit difficult to answer. Somebody takes a singular verb, doesn't it? Somebody here wants a potato. Okay, singular verb, but shouldn't it take a singular pronoun? If somebody is in lockdown, he should stay at home, but it could be female, so that's kind of strange. So we could say they, but that's a plural with somebody, which takes a singular. However, they is really the correct answer, because these days you can use they as a singular pronoun in certain situations. Okay, so it's non-gender specific. So if someone's in lockdown, they should stay at home. I would say that's the correct answer. There are a few occasions where you might say he or she. Okay, maybe you want to specify that yes, it is men and women. You can say if somebody's in lockdown, then he or she should definitely stay at home. But most of the time, I would say they is perfectly correct. That may not be the purist's answer, but I think this day and age that is the way that we speak and write as well. Right, Alice Rossi asked, I'd like to talk about relative pronouns when they can be omitted and the difference between that and which. Okay, I got that question twice, also from Cosmic Wakes, and a few other people were interested. Okay, 1 second, I'll explain. I'll be back in a second. Don't go anywhere. Okay, I'll try and explain this as simply as possible with as little grammatical jargon as possible. This is a croissant, as I'm sure you know. Listen to the sentence. This is the croissant that I had for breakfast this morning. Okay, or you could say this is the croissant which I had for breakfast this morning. Now, the part after that is an adjective part. The whole phrase is an adjective part. It's called restrictive relative clause. It describes the croissant, and in this sentence that I gave, it's an essential part of information. This is the croissant that I had for breakfast, not any other croissant. This one, okay? You cannot take it out. This is the croissant this morning. Doesn't make any sense. Now listen to this sentence. A croissant, which, by the way, was invented in Austria, not in France, is a delicious breakfast treat. Okay, so I'm giving you some additional information, not really part of the story, so you can take it out, and that is called a non-restrictive relative clause. And in these cases, you must use which. You do not use that. It makes no sense. So use which, and also you put commas. Okay, separated with commas. I'll give you one more example. This is the coffee that poisoned me. Okay, so that's an essential part of the information, isn't it? So the coffee that poisoned me. So I could use that or which here. Coffee, which I normally take at the cafe, but today I took at home, is a delicious beverage to have for breakfast. Okay, so there you are. I'm adding some additional information, so you use which. And you also asked, when can you when can you omit the relative pronoun? Well, it can be omitted when it is the object, when the relative pronoun is the object of the clause. Okay, so you know it's the object of the clause when it's followed by a pronoun and a verb. So, for example, in this example, this is a pronoun that I had, pronoun and verb. So you can omit it. This is the croissant I had for breakfast. You can omit it. So in other cases, you can't omit it. So, for example, This is the woman that lives on a boat. Okay, there's no pronoun there. That's a clue. So you must leave in that. This is the woman lives on a boat. No, this is the woman that lives on a boat. Okay, I've got a few more questions, but probably that's enough for today. I'm getting tired. I'm sure you're getting tired. And so carry on sending me your grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation questions, and I'll try and answer them in the coming days. Thank you. Stay healthy.